Well, folks, on the video cam, you might be seeing a part of Bruce's head here because he's being
Never
a little
seeing
bit
all
of a
of Bruce's
nudge.
head.
Oh yeah, sometimes all of Bruce's head. I kind of just have to give him a little bit of peanut butter to help him not bother me during this podcast because I'm trying to watch the Phillies and podcast at the same time. So it's presenting an interesting logistical challenge, and Bruce does not want to let me do that, despite the fact that he was in doggy daycare all day and should be properly exhausted right now. But what are you going to do with a puppy?
That's typically what it takes to get me to behave as well. Just
Yeah, you have to
hand
play
feed
with
me some
some
peanut
other
butter.
men.
Well, I mean that, but also I need to be hand fed peanut butter or some other tasty treat. And that's the only
Ooh.
way that I'll act like a normal civilized adult.
I like it. I'm into it right there. And I mean, look, we all need a treat today. We all need a treat after, Quigz and I both had very similar days where we stayed up late seeing maybe the most infuriating sporting event of the year, and that's saying a lot for Philadelphia.
And it's only week 2, Steve. We're just getting started.
Only week 2 of the Philadelphia Eagles season, and we just saw one of the most heartbreaking losses of the past few years, just absolute infuriating. And both of us had to go back to our office for the first time in quite a while. Been a while. And yeah, like, I mean, I think I've been in my office 2 or 3 times in the past year because they've been renovating things, and they finally finished up. So I'm back in a Camden groove, but there I am. And Quigz, I know you had your whole car thing, so you literally could not get there until today. And
well,
you are also back.
I'll actually admit, so I got to the office last Thursday as well. So that was actually my first day back in the office. But like, I went in for the first time this week today because I'm remote on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I went in today, and luckily I got in. I typically get in earlier than a lot of people. So like, no one, when I walked in, was like, "Hey, Ryan." And a lot of the people in my office are New York sports fans. So I didn't have to deal with, "Hey, Ryan, you see that Birds game last night?" Because that would have just drove me insane. So like,
yeah, like
luckily,
you body slam somebody into a standing desk.
Yeah. Like put them through the wall like the Kool-Aid man. Like that is probably what would have happened. But no, like last night was so here's what made it, like, here's what really pisses me off. So this week, my girlfriend and I were facing each other in fantasy football.
Oh no, I had a fantasy football heartbreak last night too.
So Steve,
but it wasn't against the misses, that's for sure.
The Eagles were targeting both me and Stacy, my girlfriend. So basically, Stacy had Saquon Barkley on her team, and I was winning by 0.5 points. Not even a full point. I'm winning by 0.5 points. And she needed Saquon Barkley to just get 1 point.
Oh, no.
And of course, what happened was they threw the ball to Saquon on 3rd and 3 right in his hands, and he fucking dropped it. And I was laughing at my girlfriend because I was like, "Damn, that fucking sucks. Like, now I'm going to win. This is hilarious for me. Miserable for you." And then I was like, "It doesn't matter. Like, as long as the Eagles win, I don't care. Like, if you beat me, it's whatever. I don't give a shit." And then the Eagles went and did and lost the way they did. And so neither me or Stacy was happy because I ended up winning. I ended up winning in fantasy 144.86 to 144.36. So we both just went to piss. We both just went to bed just absurdly angry last night. Like it was awful. And
it was just like, I think one of the worst ways you could end a Monday. Like, I took an angry shower last night, just going over the different ways of like how they could have won the game. I was like, they could have done this, they could have done that, and I was like lathering up my hair. It's pretty funny.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not even mad at Saquon. I'm really not.
Oh, I'm mad at Saquon. I'm not gonna lie. I'm mad at a lot of things. I mean, here's the thing. I'm mad at like 20 things. Saquon's just one of them.
I'm not going to.
He's got to make that catch, Quigz.
He does have to make the catch, but like you know what?
He's like one of the highest paid running backs in the league. He's got to make that catch.
And so far, he's been the best player on the team so far.
Oh, he's been awesome. He's been awesome.
Like I'm not like I like, yes,
when I
he
say
lost
I'm
the
mad,
game.
I'm more disappointed in him. Like, I'm not like mad. I don't think he's a
It's
bum,
disappointed.
but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I am majorly disappointed. Like that was an easy catch, and he was doing the classic trying to run with the ball before
Right.
securing the catch.
That's what I'm trying to say is I'm not angry at him. I'm disappointed at what happened. Like, he's better than that, but like, I'm not, like you said, I don't think he's a bum. I'm not going to be saying they should bench him. I'm saying they should be benching Bryce Huff.
Bryce Huff has been a
I'm
major disappointment.
I'm saying they should bench like pretty much most of the defense. Like,
Well, that's impossible.
what is going on? Like, for that lack of complete, there's no pass rush. There's none. It's
None.
absolutely miserable to watch. Kirk Cousins carved them, well, Kirk Cousins on that last drive carved them up, but Bijan Robinson was running all over them last night. Like,
Oh yeah,
not even contested. It was like the defense wasn't even there. It was.
I had a bet
unreal.
last night for Barkley and Bijan to get 150 yards combined, and like I hit that easy.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
I hit that very easy, and I was not happy about it because Bijan had a great night. And the thing is, like, they didn't let up points until really the end there. And my fantasy heartbreak was that I had Jalen Hurts and the Eagles defense, and my opponent had Mooney from the Falcons.
Oh, yeah.
And Dallas Goedert. And I was up late, and it was looking good. And then Mooney got a late long pass reception.
I think he got a couple on that.
He got a couple. Drive. Yeah, he got a couple on that last drive. And then Goddard on the Eagles' desperation drive got like one, and Hurts threw the interception. So I ended up losing by 5.
That fucking sucks.
Yeah,
that's
it was
really
terrible.
Bad.
I know.
Yeah.
And that's my auction league. That's really difficult. So yeah, I was not happy about that, but I was obviously far more frustrated with the Eagles loss that drops them 1-1 when it should have been an easy 2-0. And you know, it's one of those games that just like there's a million things that could have gone right that they should have won. And I also can't help but think that if AJ Brown had been healthy for that game,
different game. I think
they would have crushed them. I think it would have been close, but he wasn't. Like, and the defense can do shit late. And yeah, dude, like hi Bruce, I don't know what you have to do to get Hassan Reddick back to get a pass rush.
I swear to God, do it again. Run it back. Bryce Huff for Hassan Reddick. Do the trade.
Yeah, let's just
pull the trigger, Howie.
Let's just pretend we didn't do all this, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what do we have to do? Do we have to get like Hassan Reddick, like an appearance on like Shogun or something like that? Because I know he took his Japan trip.
Now, right? I'll say this. When the Eagles got Hassan Reddick a couple years ago, you may remember he was real bad his first couple games with the Eagles. Like,
I actually forgot about that. Yeah.
He was real bad, and then he turned it on and went berserk.
Yeah.
Difference is he was playing most of the snaps. Josh Huff. Bryce Huff is only playing.
You can't trust a Huff.
Josh Huff is probably better than Bryce Huff right now. Bryce Huff is playing what, like 51% of the, like hardly half of the snaps, and it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? You're getting
what are we doing, folks?
Way overpaid. Like it's crazy. And what drives me crazy about this game or last night's game is that it looked just like the 2023 Eagles. And that is the last thing I want to see.
It looked almost exactly like the Seahawks game that they blew last year. Like almost to a T.
It looks like nothing has changed.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part about it. So, yeah, I don't know. Sirianni, good luck to you, dude. Good luck.
And is it the Saints this week?
Oh, it's the Saints. Yeah.
Who have just destroyed
everyone in their path.
On.
It's like, just a tornado alley.
They wrecked the Dallas Cowboys, and I really enjoyed it, but like I'm not looking forward to this matchup.
Especially if the Eagles don't have AJ Brown. I don't know what to tell you. So just chalk up another L. It's fine. It's all right.
Oh man, Quigz has been in Philadelphia for like a month, and he's already.
How can you be positive about this Eagles team?
I'm not positive, but it's just funny how I guess fired up negative you are. Oh, I don't know. I'm kind of taking it one week at a time, but like you are like passionately negative in a way that I'm admiring right now.
The Eagles I have been so negative about the Eagles since which game was it that they lost? Since the Niners game last year. Since
The
that
Niners game was very,
that was
very
demoralizing.
ugly.
And then every week after that, it just got worse and worse and worse. And now I have just no faith. And the offseason they had, it was exciting because they got Saquon, but then some of these other moves, like letting us on Reddit go and getting Josh Huff instead, or Jesus Christ, Bryce Huff instead. And then losing Jason Kelsey and losing Fletcher Cox.
I mean,
I knew that was going to have some sort of impact on the team, and it's looking like that's what's happening.
I mean, Kelsey, you had a couple hiccups in week 1, but I thought Jurgens played well.
Jurgens is good.
Yeah,
but
I'm not too concerned with that.
Vocal leaders in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not too concerned with that because I think that's also ultimately, if Jalen Hurts is, which I can't believe I'm saying this now, but like if Jalen Hurts is long-term your guy, it's going to make him a better quarterback because you were relying so much on Jason Kelsey to read defenses and stuff like that. So that could actually be a really good source of growth. What I was hoping on the defensive side of the ball is that having Fletcher Cox, not having Fletcher Cox anymore would help Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. And thus far, that has not been the case.
It's been bad.
And I think what's also just not helping them is that the ends aren't doing anything either. So
right. Jalen Carter, I still think he's a beast.
He's a beast. And I've seen him make some plays and like he's involved. He's just like, I don't think he's really getting any help on the outside.
Right. Yeah.
He's
not. He's getting double teamed. And like Jordan Davis has not been good against the pass, even against the run. He's been real disappointing. So
yeah,
man, I don't know. It's crazy.
Go Birds. There we go.
Yeah, go Birds. I guess.
Listen. The fighting. No, it's always go Birds. It's still go Birds. Listen, they disappoint you, but it's still go Birds. It's always go Birds.
Well, I'm not happy about it. Go Birds, but I'm not happy about it.
Go Birds. Yeah, I mean, I'm never happy about it. Like, there's been like 2 times in my life I've been happy about it, and like one of them, I mean, I guess there's been a handful, right?
Yeah, but like, I've been happy about Go Birds, saying Go Birds many times.
Well, I'm happy about saying Go Birds, but I'm saying like the Birds in general have made me happy maybe a couple times in my life. It's not very often, It's quite the Philadelphia experience, and I'm hoping that the Phils can close out the season strong. They're up 3-1 currently on the Milwaukee Brewers right now, which is a huge game. And that's the main reason I'm recording from my living room instead of the kitchen or the office tonight is mainly I want to watch the Phils on the big TV while recording this beauty right here.
Did you hear the news that Sean Diddy Combs held without bail after being charged with racketeering, sex trafficking, and all that?
I almost gave that an Owen Wilson, oh wow, but that is not appropriate for that kind of news. I did not hear that news about Diddy, but not exactly surprising. Does that quite fall into the Flyperbole musical wheelhouse? I guess it kind of does.
Kind of. Are you aware of who hit a home run tonight for the Phillies?
Oh, Nicky Castellanos.
That's right.
Oh, the greatest
He's
tradition
keeping
in
the streak
sports.
going. He's keeping it going, baby.
The fact that he did it on the day that the former president of the United States had a shot taken at him, and then does it again today. Like that streak just is one of the most insane things in all of sports, and I love that it continues happening. And
it's crazy,
yeah. And don't misinterpret my words there. I know some of you jokers out there might try to misinterpret some of my words to get me into a trap, but you're not doing it. You're not doing it, okay? Mm-hmm. You're not doing it here. But yeah, Nicky Castellanos just he's the Energizer Bunny. He keeps going. He keeps pumping it out when disastrous things happen.
That's right.
And you gotta love him. Diddy, it's really weird to talk about a very serious allegation and news story and refer to a grown-ass man as Diddy when you're talking about it.
It is strange. Yeah, it's odd behavior by an adult man. But
what's your weirdest speaking about the I guess Puff Daddy Diddy as a whole, like what's the first association in your mind?
Like Diddy?
Anything, yeah.
I mean, for some reason the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of Diddy is he had this song from maybe 10, 15 years ago or something that was released under the name Diddy Dirty Money.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's that song "I'm Coming Home" featuring Skylar Grey.
Oh, I think I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
But it's it's
My
weird.
fir-
It's weird. I don't know why.
Well, it's a weird musical career for this gentleman here, and that's a loose term. But the first thing I think of is when for the goddamn Godzilla soundtrack, which is one of the great soundtracks of our time. There, he recorded a version of, I think it was, did they repurpose Kashmir for "Come With Me"?
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Right. He got Jimmy Page involved with it, which is like, it just, what an atrocity of a song right there. And which I enjoyed in the late 90s, but now it's like, what the hell were we thinking? And
real bad.
The best thing to come out of the soundtrack for Godzilla at the end of the day, though, is 100% Brain Stew, Green Day's Brain Stew with Godzilla noises in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked the Rage Against the Machine song, "No Shelter." Do you remember that?
Was that one? Yeah, I remember that. Is that from Godzilla? I guess it is. Yeah,
it was in the Godzilla movie, or it was somehow affiliated with that movie.
That deserves an oh wow. No, I think it was, because I had it, and there was also the Wallflowers cover of Heroes is on that one.
That's right,
a pretty good cover. Pretty good cover.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Little looking back in the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, a great way to transition from just horrific crimes, Nick Castellanos' home run, to late 90s nostalgia about a terrible blockbuster soundtrack.
And now the Flyers.
Yeah. Seamless transition. One of the great transitions that
was a rocky transition. But you know what, Steve?
Listen,
it's been a rough start to the week.
Yeah,
we get them all again here and there. You know what I mean? I
had to go, make small talk today. I haven't had to make small talk in a long time.
Yeah. Oh, and it took me 2 hours to get home today.
Oh, that's brutal.
Something happened on the turnpike. I don't know what
you don't
happened.
say,
dude.
You don't say.
The backup was legit. I was sitting in this traffic, like bumper to bumper traffic, for like an hour and a half. It was awful.
You almost had enough time to listen to a full Flyperbole.
I think I could have listened to at least 2.
I mean, I'm talking about a Stephen Craig Flyperbole.
Oh, well, depends.
That's almost enough time for Stephen Craig.
Almost enough
Flyperbole
time.
right there.
Yeah.
There's this guy, I think Mitch is the guy who would send that to me on Twitter, and he'd go like, I ran for 3 hours, and that was enough time to listen to one Flyperbole.
If you love a good Flyperbole, like a classic 3-hour Flyperbole, and you're also a runner, that is the perfect combination for you. Like,
I just got to put out the archive episodes every now and then, just to put some of the long ones out there.
Yeah, dude, honestly, bring them back.
They're insane. Back. They're all insane.
They're
every
great.
One of them.
They're all good.
It's
fun to listen back to, like what used to stress us out.
If I'm putting out one, my favorite classic Flype conversation, if I was going to put one out tomorrow, would be the Too Much Marinara conversation. Have you ever heard that one?
I don't think so.
You've never heard that one? I mean, I got to put it out just for you at this point. But there's an episode that starts with Craig talking about having too much marinara on his spaghetti at the restaurant, and that turned into like a 10-15 minute conversation about marinara sauce.
Very interesting. I mean, I feel like we could do that with some stuff. Marinara sauce is not something that I can have a 10-15 minute conversation about.
No, not many people can, but
I can have a 10-15 minute I can have a 10-15 minute conversation about a lot of random shit, but like marinara sauce, just sauce.
Yeah, just sauce. Too much, the amount of sauce that you put on. And also a quick on that note, I need to shame myself slightly, because when I was talking last week about having beers while helping John LeClaire move, I was talking about pounding lagers, which is correct, but per Flyperbole law, I really should have said pounding Bud Heavies.
But I was going to say,
it's not my beer of choice by any means, but listen, this is Flyperbole. Bud Heavy is the official beer of Flyperbole, and I really should have said that I'd be pounding Bud Heavies while helping Johnny Vermont move a sectional into his home. So that's on me, guys. I got to do a better job.
That's all right. That's all right. It's you know, in the moment, you gotta. Sometimes you're just feeling a lager. Throw it out there. It was a lapse of judgment that you
Yeah,
forgot the beer of Flyperbole, but it's all right.
it
Everyone
is
makes mistakes.
just a huge colossal mistake right there. But what are you gonna do? And right now, I've got Bruce has left me in the lurch with peanut butter fingers, so that's good. And yeah, that's what we're doing. But I guess we should talk about the Flyers. We should talk about this rookie series. And I talked a little bit about this with a little bit. I talked a lot about it with Ryan Gilbert yesterday. So I'm going to have some opinions here, and it might be a little bit redundant, but I would really like to hear Ryan Quigley's thoughts on the rookie series here, and see what you really thought about this matchup between the Flyers and the Rangers rookies over the weekend.
So when we look, let's look at the Friday game, because obviously that's the game that everyone's going to be talking about, because that was the Michkov game. He looked real good, Steve. Like really, really good. I actually thought he got off to a little bit of a slow start, but as the game progressed, he started to like get a little confident. He started to get more creative. I just thought he looked like an NHL player out there, and like a good one. This is not to say that I'm expecting him to come out immediately as a rookie and average a point per game. Like, not at all. I'm not ready to say that he's at that level yet. I think he could be one day, but I do think he's going to produce as a rookie for sure, based off of what I saw, because he was just so, he was noticeably better than every single person on the ice, which is granted how it should be, because it's a rookie game. Like, he better look better than everyone else.
Right.
Like, he looked so much better that it was like, wow, this guy's really, he's something special here. So, I just, he scored that goal that gave the Flyers the lead in the Friday game, and he did it. He didn't even utilize his like shot. He got in the dirty area and he just rammed the puck past the goalie off of his outstretched pad, and
Which I loved.
Yeah.
I loved, because it showed this almost like a veteran craftiness about him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what his biggest asset is. The man just knows how to score.
Yeah.
He knows how to just like find the back of the net. And I don't want to say he's the inverse of Jake Voracek, but like he kind of is, right? Where like Voracek was a very pass first player. And again, as I said the other day, I'm not trying to get blocked by Jake over here. He hasn't blocked me. I don't want him to block me. I love Jake Voracek. I love Jacob over there. Jacob loves Jacob. But I think Jake Voracek would be the first person to tell you he was like a very pass first kind of player. Mm-hmm. The joke always was he passes into the back of the net when he scores a goal. Yeah. Whereas Michkov, like, he exists for one purpose, and that's to score goals. Mm-hmm. Like, he is looking to score every time he's out there, and just sneaking around the pad, sneaking that puck into the back of the net, man. It just makes you think about the possibilities if they can get him firing with the other personnel they have at the NHL level on the power play, especially, like to have somebody whose mentality on the power play is score, shoot and score first. Oh, sign me up.
And he looks so comfortable on the power play too. That's another like very, very welcome sign, considering just how dreadful the Flyers power play was last season. So they need that. And it's good to know that he looks ready to, take on that role as a power play, really kind of cornerstone. So that's awesome.
Yeah. It's really awesome. And it's very much needed from a power play that hasn't been good since Braden Shen played here, which really puts that in perspective, because it's been a while since Braden Shen played here. And, again, something I talked about the other day, but who cares? Redundancies are going to happen on podcasting. The one that really got me, like, obviously the goal was awesome, but the shift that Jordan Hall tweeted out video of, where Michkov is just controlling the puck at the back of the net, net, and it culminates in him trying to take a sneaky shot over the net onto the goaltender's back. I just love all of the instincts there, all of the offensive skill and instincts and smarts, and the way he just controlled the puck, like very Yager-esque. It gave me hockey feelings.
And like that play, that's such a great play that Jordan tweeted out, because it showed how much respect he already has from the opposition. Like, he was alone behind the net, and pretty much every defender on the ice, they were like, oh, fuck, he's going to do the Michigan. And so they like all kind of ran, and Michkov was like, oh, shit. And so he just like, he tried to lob it over the net, kind of like what you just said. And it didn't work, but like, I love that. I love that he's creative, and I love that he's trying to do stuff like that, because no one else is going to do that. Certainly not on the Flyers. They don't have anyone with that creativity on the roster right now. So I thought it was great seeing him kind of try all these, little things here and there. And did they all work? No, but that's what you want to see a young player doing, is you want to see that creativity. Yeah.
Creativity is a great word. It is the word of the weekend, children. And that's really what I saw. I didn't see Saturday's game, unfortunately, but what I saw on Friday's game was a level of creativity from a number of players that I have not seen at the NHL level besides Owen Tippett. Owen Tippett's the one guy who I can say, like, obviously, it's not to say that the Flyers don't have creative players, but Owen Tippett might be the one guy who's had creative goal scoring opportunities on this team.
Like that Spinorama backhander that he had, like, crazy.
So good. One of the best goals I've seen in years from the Flyers. And I want to see more of that stuff. So to see Michkov go out there and be creative like he did. The other guy that was really creative, I thought, at least in Friday's game when I watched it, was Samu Tuomaala, who I didn't know the kid had it in him, and he really had some great scoring opportunities and did some really cool stuff at the puck. And I know there's a lot of skepticism on if he can do it at the NHL level, but I mean, at least in this showcase, I really liked what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, he scored the game-winning goal in overtime, so that's pretty sick if you're a rookie or a young guy trying to make the team at a camp. I've liked what I've seen out of him a lot. I think he definitely has NHL potential. I don't think he's going to be on the team this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets like called up if there's an injury or something like that. Maybe he'll there you go, Steve. Pork roll, egg and cheese, baby. Maybe if there's an injury on the Flyers and he's just balling out down in Lehigh Valley, then maybe that's when he gets a call up. But I do think that he will be a full-time NHLer at some point, because he looks like he has some serious skill. Now, I do want to point out that on his game-winning goal in the Saturday game of the rookie series, who was it that got that play started? Jett Luchanko.
Oh, and that's Jett.
That's what we've seen. We saw that in both games. We saw Jett Luchanko make some seriously very, very encouraging plays in both games. I remember in the first game with Michkov, he almost set up Michkov for the game-winning goal in overtime in that first game.
Oh,
he did it in a great way, because he kind of dumped the puck into the offensive zone. He chased after it and kind of beat out two defenders for it. And then he regains possession of the puck, sees Michkov completely uncovered right in front of the net, and he sends it to him. And unfortunately, Michkov had a hard time kind of like corralling the puck, but like, that's excellent. And it looks like him and Michkov, they connected on a few plays there. And what more could you ask for from your two best young forward prospects? Like,
so cool. So cool to see those guys already have chemistry.
Yeah.
And they're freaking teenagers, man. Like, that's the wild thing. Like, we could be seeing
Jett Luchanko just turned 18.
Right. And like
he's a boy.
It's crazy to think that like we could be seeing these guys be like top line players for the Flyers for like a decade plus.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very real possibility. And that's not to pump Jett Luchanko's tires too much after 2 games against rookies. But like, I loved what I saw. He's a teenager, and the Flyers clearly saw something in him to overreach and pick him where they did.
Yeah.
Like, they clearly like his game. They like his talent. I really liked a lot of the stuff he did just as a pure center in that game.
He was good.
Face-offs, controlling the middle of the ice. Like, he did a lot of great things, and he's a kid.
Mm-hmm. And I think what also stood out to me was just like, he looked really, really, really comfortable on the power play. I guess the power play, but mainly the PK. I thought he was really good on the PK, and he made a few plays while shorthanded that were kind of like, wow, it popped out. You know what I mean? It jumped off the screen. And I mean, just with his speed, his great skating ability, and just like his, I guess, his hockey sense, put it together, he's like the perfect guy to be one of those aggressive PK forwards. And in a way, I don't want people to get too excited here, because I'm not saying that he's going to be as good as Mike Richards, but I saw a little bit of Mike Richards in his game at times.
Ooh, I like that.
I thought it was, he's a really exciting player.
I like some Richie. I'm all about that. And I also like the fact that, he'll presumably be up. Like, obviously, we're not talking about this year, and maybe not next year.
Yeah. But I know a lot of people want him up like now. I don't think that's right.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's impatient on, they don't want to let anybody develop. They want to see him now. I want it now. Yeah. But you can't handle the now. You can't handle any of these. But the thing is, you got to let these guys develop. You got to and in this case, you got to let these guys mature. Their actual bodies need to mature more. But like, honestly, I'd love if we saw him like next year. I could see. I mean, if he looks this comfortable and the Flyers need centers, like I really could see him playing like up next year or something like that. And what I love is the idea that when he does come up, the guy that will mentor him in the NHL is Sean Couturier,
right?
Who is, I call him Mr. Chestnut Checkers for a reason. Like, this is just one of the smartest hockey players I've seen play center in Philadelphia. And he's just a guy who I think can, it's weird to think Sean Couturier is an elder statesman since we've watched him since he was a teenager, but Coots is an elder statesman at this point. He's been here over a decade. Like, he is such a great, smart center. And he really is like a great guy to help a guy like Jett Luchanko really mature into his game and figure out how to do it at the NHL level.
Yeah. And it's funny because they're similar, but so opposite in a couple of ways. Like, Couturier was never a burner. He was always like kind of a bigger guy, a little more physical. And then Luchanko, he's like a smaller guy, but he's real speedy. But they both have really high hockey IQ. And that's where I think it'll be interesting to see them working together and learning from each other. And I do think that Coots could learn things from some of these young kids too. It's not just the older guys, the vets, teaching the kids. It kind of goes both ways in a way. So I think that'll be fun. I think that could be a really fun, thing to watch. And also another thing that I'm thinking about is, let's pretend I'm not saying that this is definitely going to happen, but I do kind of feel like the writing's on the wall that like there's a possibility this could be Torts' last year with the Flyers as head coach. So like, I just think it's kind of funny that like Jett Luchanko, who's this like awesome, really fun, dynamic forward, who's also incredible 200-foot wise, like he might not even get to play for John Tortorella. It's kind of funny how it's falling into place that way. It's totally funny. Who knows? Torts might come back. I have no idea. But like, yeah, I don't know.
You could tell me Tortorella's going to coach for like 2 years, or you could tell me he's going to coach for another 10 years, and neither answer would surprise me. Mm-hmm. It's just the nature of the beast with Tortorella. I mean, he was able to step into broadcasting for just like a hot minute, and then the call of coaching got to him like immediately. And the thing is, he is a good coach. He is a guy who, despite his reputation, has softened over the years and, adapted to the modern game in a lot of ways. And, I am curious how he's going to work with Michkov this coming season. That's definitely a big storyline, but man, I really, and everybody wants to say, oh, he's going to just destroy his game and all that. I don't think you can destroy how Michkov thinks about going for goals. Like, you might be able to, destroy, like, not destroy, but maybe like tamper down some of his more like reckless instincts, right? Mm-hmm. But like, the man is always going to be creative with finding the back of the net. Like, I don't think you can change that.
Well, and here's another thing. So when Michkov, when it was first announced that he was going to be coming over, I was a little bit nervous about him and Torts together, because I was like, I don't know if this is going to be a great pairing. I don't know if they're going to, kind of philosophically agree on a lot of things. He's an offensive first guy, and Torts is very, play a full 200-foot game, yada, yada, yada. I'm starting to wonder if it will actually work out great. And the reason I say that is because, like, and I think we've talked about this before, we thought the same thing about Travis Konechny and John Tortorella. Like, I did not think Travis Konechny was going to do well with Torts at all. I thought he was going to be out. I thought they were going to trade him away because it's just a bad coaching fit. I thought Torts was going to absolutely hate Travis Konechny. And it turns out he loves Konechny. He drives him. He admits all the time that TK drives him insane. He drives him crazy, and he wants to strangle him sometimes right there on the bench on national television. But
who doesn't?
He's a really good player, and he fits perfectly with what Torts wants. Who's to say that Michkov doesn't do the same thing? Because we have seen already that Michkov is a very, very, very competitive dude. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's challenged by Torts, he's going to be like, oh, yeah? Okay, just see.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that would be fun. I think it might actually be kind of a fun dynamic between those two.
Oh, for sure. And it's just exciting to see it's exciting to see Matvei Michkov in that number 39 Flyers jersey do stuff.
That 39 is looking good now, too. I remember people were like, 39, what kind of number is that? I like it now. Like,
I loved it from the beginning because it was unique.
It's different.
And I see too many guys try for just like the same old numbers. Like Luchanko is wearing 17. It's like, how many freaking guys have I seen in 17? We've seen Wayne Train, who's now with the organization, good on the Flyers on that front. Not Richards. Richards was 18. Carter was 17.
Oh, excuse me. I meant Carter.
Rod the Bod,
Brendan Moore. Yeah.
But we've seen countless 17s over the year.
The only Zach McEwen.
Oh, man.
Possibly the best 17.
Yeah,
if we're definitely. If we're being honest.
Definitely better than all those
and then,
other
of
guys
course,
I just mentioned.
How can we forget, Steve? The one, the only, Holmgren. Homer.
Gotta love Homer. Yeah, he was. So, yeah, we've got a strong tradition of 17. So, listen, Jett, when the time comes, pick your own lane. Pick a new adventure that's not 17. Matvei Michkov, 39. I mean, it already seems iconic. And I'm hoping that that's what we're talking about in a few years. Like, that's the only 39 that matters. And it's cool, man. There was a lot of cool stuff that I saw this weekend that really makes me hopeful for the future of the Flyers. I mean, they've got 3 first-round picks in this upcoming draft. Like, they've got their superstar in the wings right now, like he's here, and they've got Luchanko, who really could be like one of their key centers of the next really good Flyers team. So, who else really stood out for you over the weekend as like standout players in those games?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the two that stood out the most were Michkov and Jett Luchanko. And I'll be honest, I'd be lying if I said I was watching too many more than those two guys. I really was fixated on both of them in particular. I do think Emil Andrae had some good moments, which is good. I know that he obviously made the team out of camp last year. Now, granted, that was kind of an interesting circumstance because of injuries and the like, but he made the team out of camp. So that was cool. I'm sure he's going to do the same thing this year. I think it's a little bit of an uphill battle this time around, but still good to see him progressing. And I got to say, Spencer Gill kind of showed up here and there a little bit. He made some good defensive plays. I saw him make a few good offensive plays, some good puck moving ability. Like, I'm really happy with how Spencer Gill looked. Now he's a bigger guy, but he's very, very thin, like rail thin. So he needs to build some muscle, but I mean, he looks like he could be something one day. Now, granted, again, this is just a rookie series. It's 2 games. Like, what are we can't put too much on him now. But I mean, I liked what I saw from Spencer Gill. And if he keeps, kind of taking those next steps, then he could be a real player or a good find for the Flyers at some point. So I liked what I saw from him.
Spencer, what are you doing there? You're wasting away. Are you eating? I don't think you're eating. Let me make you a sandwich, Spencer. Now, like, what did you think about big boy Hunter McDonald over there? I know Kelly was saying some good stuff about him from over in Allentown.
He is, in fact, large. Definitely large. He stood out, but that was mainly because of, physicality after the whistle stuff. I think he got like chopped directly in the face by some guy on the Rangers in the first game. So that was kind of, it was a little funny because, he took a whack right here. And I just heard everyone at at in the Phantoms Arena, just kind of screaming and yelling and booing the Rangers players. That was good. But he certainly loves to get involved with the extracurricular stuff, which I am a fan of personally. Wasn't like blown away by his play, but like he doesn't exactly play a flashy game. So
No.
yeah, but you know, I think that's, even though he didn't absolutely jump off the page, that doesn't mean he's, you know, a goner or anything like that. I think he's still got a lot of potential. Excuse me, a lot of potential. We'll see what happens.
The Rangers also threw out like a team of wrestlers. You know, they were all just like massive bodies. Yeah,
they were big boys.
They were big boys. They make them big in New York over there. Let me tell you. But yeah, fun rookie series. A lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to the preseason starting. It is just around the corner. And I am pumped.
I am too. Yeah, it's coming. I mean, we only have a few days left because official training camp begins, I believe, the day that this podcast drops. So,
wow.
So today, if you're listening right now, it's today. On Wednesday.
Let's go.
And then they play their first preseason game on Sunday, September 22nd. So that's a couple days from now, Steve. And I won't be able to be there, which is sad because I'm going to be at a wedding.
Oh,
so
forget matrimony. You've got preseason hockey.
Who needs it, Steve? Honestly,
who needs to watch two beloved people in your life, you know, wed? Mm-hmm. You absolutely don't need to see that. You need to watch preseason hockey. You need to watch Hunter McDonald and the boys.
I agree with you. It's ridiculous. Yeah. I can't believe I'm stuck doing this. No, it's exciting. But yeah, no, like, I mean, it's all coming along. Like, dude, hockey season's here. We made it. Summer's over.
That's crazy. We got four preseason games next week. I didn't even realize that. We got Washington Sunday 3 p.m. Boston. We got Montreal 7 p.m. on Monday. The New York Islanders 7 p.m. Thursday. Boston 7 p.m. Saturday. So 4 games, and then like, man, it's crazy. We're actually going to be watching hockey. It doesn't count yet, but it's still fun.
Hockey.
And well, and I think it's like, this is such an interesting team right now. I mean, they overachieved last year for sure. And I don't think there's any expectations for them this year. And there are young guys that definitely have a chance to crack through. So there's a lot of interesting storylines to watch in preseason this year.
Yeah, I think this Matvei Michkov team or guy is going to make the team, Steve. I got a feeling.
I got a little bit of a hunch.
But like, yeah, no, it's exciting to see that. This is a really fun time of year. Like seeing training camp happen, seeing these young kids battling to, you know, with veterans trying to steal their jobs. I love that. I think it's so fun. And when you like, I don't know, I remember last summer, everyone remembers Bobby Brink having that incredible camp. He made the team, like he knocked the door down and busted his way onto the team. Like, because he worked hard and he had an incredible camp. Who's going to be this year's Bobby Brink? That's the question. Could it be Samu Tuomaala? Could it be someone else? Could it be not Spencer Gill? Could it be, could
be Hunter McDonald?
Could be Hunter McDonald. Yeah. Like it's fun. It's fun to see the young kids really going for it and gunning for it and trying to make their NHL dreams come true. So yeah, that's where we are.
It's going to be a blast. And unfortunately, one guy we will not be seeing next week in the preseason and in training camp is going to be Alexei Kolosov.
RIP.
Yeah, RIPD to Kolosoff, because Danny Briere came out today and made some comments about the whole situation, and it doesn't sound like it's getting resolved anytime soon, if at all.
Yeah, it's so kind of what we were talking about last week. So we talked a lot about Kolosov last week.
A lot.
We seem to have slightly differing opinions on it, but moral of the story is he's not here. Doesn't sound like he necessarily wants to be here. And now it's up to the Flyers to figure out what the next steps will be. He's under contract, so he is contractually obliged to come to training camp, but he's not gonna. So now what happens next? We've heard rumors about trades. Who knows what's going to happen? So,
I'm going to read
quotes from Briere.
Yeah, so let's read some of these quotes from Briere. So, we had a little bit of an article on Broad Street Hockey. Please subscribe as the season's coming up. We definitely appreciate your support. We're going to have some tangy tent for you folks. But Maddie got a lot of these quotes down from Danny Briere from his press conference from earlier today. So great work by Maddie Campbell, who's one of our bright shining stars over there. But Danny Briere said, I guess that we can still hope that he decides to show up at some point if he wants to play hockey. We hope that he changes his mind and decides to come, but it's not looking like it at this point. It is what it is. We have to move on. We hope that he would want to compete for a job. When you look at the way we're built right now, there's an opportunity there for him. Starting in the American League, and most teams use their third goalie, fourth goalie, so he'd be in a competition with the guys we have to play some games this year. I think more on his end, he wants to be guaranteed a spot in the NHL. If not, he prefers to stay over there, and that's not the way we see it. We agreed last year to loan him back for 1 year because he wanted to stay at home, but at some point you sign a contract. We want him here. We want him here. We want him to start integrating himself into the game the way it's played here in North America with the smaller ice and learning the language and all of that. And I guess he doesn't see it that way at the moment.
I'm going to stop you right there, Steve.
I was going to say there's a lot more, but that's the real meat of the subject.
All right. So it's just the fact that, from what Briere is disclosing right here, it sounds like he wants to be guaranteed an NHL spot. That is wild to me because
yes.
Listen, for a prospect, he did. It was exciting the way he played in the KHL last season. It was exciting. It does not scream, put me in the NHL right now. Like his numbers in the KHL last season were not so incredible that it's like he deserves a spot right now in the NHL. They're encouraging numbers for someone who's developing. That's why people are excited about Kolosov, is because there's the idea that he might be good one day. That is not now. That is not now at all. Last season, he had a .907 save percentage in the KHL. Granted, his team was not that good. Doesn't really matter. That's right. I mean, you can't be 22 years old and start barking orders around and saying, I'm ready to be in the NHL right now. You put me up, or I'm just packing my shit and I'm not going to play with you anymore. Like it's just wild that that's kind of what seems to be the demand here. And it's not warranted in any way. That's essentially me. I'm 2 months into my job currently. That's essentially me going up to my boss on like day 2 of being hired and saying, hey boss, I want a promotion. And it's like, why? And it's like, well, I mean, I want one. And it's like, well, we hired you for this job. And it's like, well, okay, well, I'm not coming then. And then guess what happens when that happens, Steve? You get fucking fired. So that seems, I don't know what the dilemma is here. And it seems he thinks he's ready for the NHL. And if he's not going to be playing in the NHL, he's going to be playing in the KHL. Listen, I'll be honest. If you want to play in the KHL instead of the AHL, I understand that. Why are you doing that after you signed your contract? That's the problem I have.
I don't understand why he signed the contract in the first place. It doesn't really make sense. And to your point, like he's not in any position. He doesn't have the pedigree to demand an NHL job. Like
zero leverage.
If Askarov was doing something like that, okay, he's a first round pick, right? Like he's one of the best goaltending prospects in the game. Obviously he couldn't do that in Nashville because they have UC friggin' Saros in there. But like if he was on another team like the Sharks, who he's been traded to, and he demanded that, like, yeah, I understand. But like Kolosov's got no pedigree to be demanding anything like that. And also it's just a ballsy ask for anybody who's, below certain age in the NHL. I mean, it's the toughest league in the world. And it is, and to Danny Briere's point, it is played very differently. And I'm sure that's part of why they wanted to get Michkov over when they did, because the NHL game is played so differently on the ice. And it's a different game sometimes. So yeah, like I really think, I agree with the Flyers. Like he should be here learning to develop. And as I've made the point of many times on this podcast at this point, he has a clear path to being the top guy in the NHL. He just has to fight a little bit for it, and he has to work a little bit in the AHL. That's all. And
and
he
it's
just
not
doesn't
like
seem interested in that.
It's not like he wouldn't have played in the NHL this season. Like, goalies get hurt all the time.
Yeah.
Like, there's a really, really good chance that if he played a little bit in the AHL, something could happen, may happen to Ivan Fedotov, or something may happen to Sam Ersson. And then all of a sudden, ring, ring. Hey, Alexei, we need you up in the NHL right now to start like 3 games in a row. That's your time. That's your moment. Like, it's not as far away as he may think that it is, getting a crack in the NHL. Like, and I don't know if that's where his mind is at. Like, maybe he's aware of that. I have no idea, but it just seems very strange that is the hang up here. And this harkens back to 𝙏𝙏𝙎𝙏𝙏𝙏. It's the same thing. What, like, why? Like, what are the odds of this happening 2 times?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in the regard that they both like wanted to play in the NHL, but like one of them, I guess 𝙏𝙏𝙎𝙏𝙏𝙏 had more of a point than necessarily Kolosoff here. Like Kolosoff, there's just not a position for him whatsoever. 𝙏𝙏𝙎𝙏𝙏, there was a position, but I understand why the franchise did what they did, because they didn't want to bring him into a very toxic locker room.
Very broken locker room, yeah.
Like maybe the most toxic locker room in the history of the Philadelphia Flyers. And I'm not even kidding when I say that. Like, that's not hyperbole. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the most toxic locker room that the Flyers have ever had.
Yeah, it was
and
bad.
Like, I understand, and they probably explained it to him, but he didn't. I don't know. Again, 𝙏𝙏𝙎𝙏𝙏 won't tell his side of the story, and we'll probably never know because he doesn't seem to want to tell. But like, if that was the only issue, then like, grow up. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. It's definitely weird. But I don't really understand this Kolosoff thing. This is a situation much like 𝙏𝙏𝙎𝙏𝙏, where I wish, even if he talked through a translator, I could hear him say something. Like, I don't really understand. And, also, like, there was that whole story, that rumor being put out there a few months ago that, and again, this is hyperbole, that this is hyperbole. I hate my life. But this is, a hyperbolic statement where somebody was coming out and saying like, oh, they locked him in a hotel room by himself. He didn't have anybody to talk to. And they came out and disputed that, where I think I saw a quote from Kevin Kurz put out a tweet that had a quote where, Laperriere down with the Phantoms was saying like, guys had reached out to him to go get dinner and stuff like that. Like, we did try to, form that bond with him, but he didn't seem interested. And I don't know, that the Flyers just not provide him a translator. I'm not sure what the heck happened there, but like, it's weird. The whole thing's weird.
Yeah. The homesickness thing I would understand, but like, wanting an NHL spot right now when you're a 22-year-old goalie, that's wild to me. So it's just, I don't know. It's crazy. And, I'm curious to see how this all resolves in the end. I wonder if the Flyers just say, all right, stay in the KHL this year, come back next year, and you'll be able to compete for a spot in the NHL. But like, why would they do that for him? Why would they give someone that freedom when they just pretty much completely disobeyed their contract?
Right. Absolutely.
It doesn't make sense. So
it doesn't, like, the whole situation is really screwy to me. And I'm going to read this last quote that I have here from Briere. Yeah, we do wonder at this point if he even wants to come over at all, because he doesn't show that he wants to come. That was the understanding last year when we signed that contract. He asked us to loan him back for 1 more year so he can keep developing 1 more year, and then he would come over, and we're here now, and he's still saying the same thing. So it's time for him to step up and respect the contract that he signed. So yeah, I mean, I would also be wondering if he even wants to be here. I have been wondering if he even wants to be here in North America, because it doesn't seem like he does. And that's going to be a real hindrance if the Flyers do try to trade him, because who the heck wants to trade for a guy that doesn't seem to have any interest in trying to compete for a job in North America? And, deal with his lumps in the AHL. I mean, it's an important learning experience for the vast majority of hockey players. Like I would say, most hockey players spend some time in the minors before coming up. Like they're obviously the studs that don't have to deal with that. Like Michkov probably won't have to deal with that. But even like Mike Richards and Jeff Carter, I mean, part of that was the strike, but like, or the lockout, but like, even those guys spent time with the Phantoms, Claude Giroux spent time with the Phantoms. Like a lot of players spend time in the minors. It's just what you have to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, listen, there are a select few that don't, but they're these prodigy kids, and I'm sorry, Alexei Kolosov, you're not that. Like, sorry, you're a very good prospect.
Right. Like
you need
Sean Couturier and you show up to camp the first year and show incredible defensive prowess for a 19-year-old. Then you're going to make the team right away. Yeah.
It just, it just seems that would be biting off way more than he can chew. And it doesn't seem, I just don't know what he was thinking. Like, and you know what? I feel like there's more to this story too. And I'm sure that there's going to be more coming out, I'm sure. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if the Flyers ultimately decide to trade him or let him play out this year in Russia. I don't know what they're going to end up doing, but it's once again another prospect. Really interesting storyline to follow throughout the year.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's just it's a puzzler, and I wish there was less drama. I don't like when there's drama with this team, and this drama.
But it's the Flyers, so. That will never happen, Steve.
I know. But this drama seems silly. It seems unnecessary. I hate it. Like I don't understand why it has to be here. And I'd rather look forward to seeing Michkov and Luchanko and what Bobby Brink's got to bring this year, Tyson Forrester. Like there's so many great storylines this season that I'd rather concentrate on that stuff than talk about this Kolosoff drama over and over again for, again, a player that like has a pretty good potential future, but like we're not.
It's not like he's Washek,
right? It's not even like, and I hate to use this example, but unfortunately, it's the best relevant Flyers example of recent years. It's not like Carter Hart, who when Hart was coming up, there was a ton of hype about him.
Right. Yeah.
Like Hart was a really big deal.
Yes,
before he played for the Flyers. Like we were talking about him, like the next one, and the less said about what's happened since then, the better. And before that, but like just talking from pure hype, like there was a lot of hype around him and his skill set and being the next like really great Flyers goaltender. And Kolosoff, there's been talk about him being solid, especially given the clear opportunity with what happened to Hart and everything. And but like I don't really get any of this. I don't really understand it. I want to know the other side of the story. But I really want to move on because I feel like we've talked about this for like the entire summer. And it's just like, it's like a weird mystery that we're never going to get a satisfactory answer to, much like Gauthier. And I don't know, man. Do you have any other thoughts on this? Like, I'm ready to like bury it for the rest of time, but like anything else you like, any pending thoughts that you really need to get out about Kolosoff?
Not a ton. I mean, it's just, it would be one thing if this was like Michkov,
right. If it was Michkov, like,
oh my God. I mean, the whole world would be on fire, but
and like, it should be, because like he is that big a deal.
But, Kolosov, you know what, at this point, I feel like it's just like you either come or you don't. And if you don't, that's a shame. It's unfortunate. People are probably, I'm sure there's a segment of Flyers Twitter that is freaking out and mad at Danny Briere right now. I think that's a bit of an overreaction. It seems to me like this is two players, hit both Kolosov and Gauthier, who want it their way or the highway. And that's not how it goes in the real world. So
were these both Chuck Fletcher picks?
I think they both are. Yes.
There you go. That's all I need to know.
Yeah. So
Chucky 2 trades added again, folks. Am I right?
Posthumously, Chucky 2 trades coming back from the dead.
Now he's Chucky no trades because he can't do shit.
He can't.
Yeah.
Until he inevitably gets another GM job.
Oh, yeah, it could be any day now.
Yeah.
Any day now. Who knows?
Could be the next Devils GM.
Oh, I would love that.
Wouldn't that be
I
great?
would truly love and cherish that. Please do it, Devils.
That would be fun.
That would be very fun. Fun for us, at least, and probably fun for everybody else in the division.
I bet so. I wouldn't
break them up. Break them up. Break them up. So let's, okay. So final thoughts on the show before we wrap up. So preseason starts next week. Really excited about that. Who's your top five? Who are you really watching? I'm going to say top five besides Michkov, because Michkov is a parent.
Right. Yeah.
So like, who are you really watching storyline wise as we're heading into the preseason?
I want to see Emil Andre. I want to see if he can, progress a little bit, maybe make it a little interesting in terms of, knocking the door down and becoming a full-time NHL player. Samu Tuomaala, I think he has shown really good flashes. He was great last year in the AHL, so I think that'll be interesting. I do want to see a little bit more of �12𝙎𝙎𝙎𝘍.
Oh,
in that first, so I'm not saying he's going to make the team, but that first Friday game, he was fun. Like, he was a real fun player to watch. So that's one guy I'd like to keep another eye on. Alexei Kolosov, I think is the pronunciation of his name. He also impressed me a little bit during the rookie series, so I want to keep an eye on him as well. I know the Flyers seem to be pretty high on him. And then if I had to put, I'm actually going to go a little off the board here and like a non-prospect. I want to see Sean Couturier. I want to see Sean Couturier in these preseason games look like Sean Couturier of old. Like,
Coots.
I want to see the old Coots. And, he looked like himself for the first half of last season. The second half, he looked like a shell of himself. And I think it was the conditioning. I think he just was not up to, he hadn't played a full 80. Yeah, he hadn't played a full 82 game season in God knows how long. It had been quite a while. And he was coming off of basically 2 years of no hockey at all. So, I really, really, really want to see Coots this summer and see how, if he's rebounded. If he's continuously looking like a shell of himself, that is not good.
No, that's not good. And that's something that is, if you're on Team Tank for the season, that's a great sign for you. Mm-hmm. But if you're, if you want to see them be chippy and competitive this year, they really need Sean Couturier to be even just like 60% of his old self.
Right.
Because he's the only guy on this team who can be a number one center currently.
And they're stuck with him.
They're stuck with him.
Absolutely.
The contract can't be moved. It simply can't be moved. So outside of a buyout or something, and that would be a disaster. Mm-hmm. So, you are really stuck with him, and he's the only guy with the capability, because Morgan Frost, I think he can be a number two center. I don't know how great of a number two center, but I think he can be that. And like, Ryan Poehling is a 4-3 on his best day guy. I like Ryan Poehling a lot, but that's what he is.
Yeah.
And, Noah Cates, if he's playing 2, you got a lot of problems, right? And I like Noah Cates, but that guy's a 3 or 4 as well. So that's just how it is. So if this team,
and he might not even be a center.
So. Right. He might not even be. That's God. Scott Lawton, Noah Cates, Gauthier before he was traded. How many guys do they have that are not quite centers? Yeah. And again, such a turnabout from how it used to be. But would love, honestly, do I think tanking's the wiser choice for the long run? Get better picks, blah blah blah. Of course. But man, it was fun watching the Flyers compete for a playoff spot last year.
It was great.
Frankly, with Michkov here, I'm ready to do some winning. Like, I know they're not going to do anything like Stanley Cup wise this year, not even close. And again, I'm not expecting the playoffs. And you're not a fool if you expect the playoffs, but like, I would try to temper your expectations to be realistic. And if they make the playoffs, cool, that's fun. But like, this is still a very much under construction team. So temper those expectations. Temper your expectations for Michkov. As long as we're seeing good signs, the kid is young as shit. Okay. As long as we're seeing good signs, that's what to watch for. Okay. Like, just watch for his style of play, watch for his comfort level in the NHL, watch for him on the power play. There's a lot of great stuff to watch for, but like, let's be realistic about these guys. But going back to Couturier, like, that's their only guy that can be a number one center.
Mhm.
And that's just being realistic on this team. Like, sorry, Morgan Frost, but that's just how it
He's
is.
not, yeah, yeah.
And they really, if they're going to compete, they need him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this season, just to, about to your point about tempering expectations, this season's all about hope. Kick back, relax, turn on the Flyers game at 7:00 on a Thursday night and just enjoy it. There's no reason. There does not have to be any drama. This team, they might compete for a playoff spot. Don't expect it. Just go into each game and just watch Michkov do his thing. And if he's only a 40-point player as a rookie, that's fucking awesome. That's good. That's really, really good for a rookie in the NHL. So,
and this is part of why you signed Travis Konechny to the contract you signed him to.
Right.
Because Travis Konechny is a guy who's going to consistently give you fun nights in the NHL. He's going to put up points.
Yeah.
If there's at least 2 more years of Travis Konechny being the best player on this team. I have no doubt in my mind about that.
Yeah.
Now, would I love to be wrong about that? Abso-friggin-lutely.
That'd be cool.
It would be very cool. But I mean, there's also the other guy who could possibly overtake him for that would be Owen Tippett, because Owen Tippett does keep leveling up each year and really showing me a lot with his goal scoring ability. So that would be cool too. But and maybe Tyson Forrester. Tyson Forrester, man, love him. Love what he brings to the game. So there are reasons to watch beyond Michkov. So don't expect Michkov to have the most amazing year you've ever seen.
Right.
But that's not to say he won't. I think he'll have a very good year. I feel very good about this guy. But yeah, just try to go and just be chill. Just be cool, honey bunny.
There you go. There you go. Great reference. I love that. But yeah, no, it's going to be a fun year. Michkov's here. Young team. There's a lot to watch. It's a really, really enticing team. So just kick back, relax, enjoy the hockey.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, if you're going to be disappointed in people, you got the Eagles and the Phillies right there. Okay.
Oh, they'll do all the work for you.
They'll do all the work for you. Hey, the Phils just won. They beat the Brewers, so I'm happy about that.
There you go.
Yeah, you've got the Eagles and the Phillies to disappoint you. Let the Flyers just be the Flyers. Let them just figure out how to walk here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, folks, I think that's about it right now. And it was plenty. So thank you so much for listening. We love and appreciate you all. If you have any feedback for us, unfortunately, the best place is still Twitter/X. Where can people find you on the old Twitters, Quigz?
Oh, wow. You can find me on Twitter and X and all that stuff at Ryan Quigz with a Z.
Oh, wow. How about that?
Oh, wow.
You can find me at Flyperbole or at 𝙏𝙎𝙎𝙏𝙏 if it's for hockey purposes. Make it Flyperbole. That's on Twitter. That's on Blue Sky. That's on Instagram. That's on TikTok. Plenty of places to go reach the Perbs. And don't forget, like and subscribe on your podcast service of choice, be it Apple, be it Spotify, be it Audio Trough or whatever the fake ones we made up back in the day where, there's plenty of them out there. And check out the YouTube page where you can see our beautiful smiling faces right here. And, be sure to like that too. Listen as many times on as many things as you can, and we'll appreciate that. Spread the word of the Perbs. We're out there. We're having fun. And guess what? We got a lot of Tangy 10 out there on the podcast in general. We got Joe, Italian Joe, and we got Ryan Gibbs doing the Broad Street Hockey Podcast. Those guys know their hockey very well. And we got the Fly guys, always do a solid work over there. And we got some other stuff in the works for this upcoming season. Hopefully it all comes about. I think Thomas started doing hosers again. So that's a lot of fun. So guys, lots of podcast 10 out there. Tell your friends. We're having a lot of fun and we hope you are too. All right, my friends, until next time, in the words of the great Gene Hart, good night and good hockey. Wow, 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 wow.